Welcome to Mild Moodcast, a podcast meant to explore mental health through the lens of another human hanging on by a thread. I'm Bianca, a registered mental health counselor intern, soon to be LMHC, here to chat about the topics we don't get enough of. So grab your headphones and let's dive into the crazy world of mental health. It's going to be a wild ride. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mild Moodcast. Today it's gonna be really different than any other episode I've done so far. Honestly, I'm just talking today because I am irritated as life. And I felt like, it's funny because I was having a conversation right before this. So I was like, I have this whole plan for this episode. What the fuck was it called? Breaking the cycle, unlearning unhealthy love patterns. And I looked at that shit today and I just said, I don't have that in me today. So that's probably going to be next week's episode. But as of right now, I think I just want to talk about the way that I feel because you know what? She made a good point. This is my podcast. I can talk about whatever the fuck I want to. And this one will probably be the most colorful. So if it's your first time listening to this one, welcome to the shit show. I don't know what to tell you. This is just me being really raw and honest, and I guess we're going to call this one vulnerable today because I'm just being myself. I'm just talking. So if you are not here for a chit chat, I'm sorry, but that is what this one is going to be about. And I'm sure I can connect it to mental health in some way, but I absolutely will. But it's just not going to be my nice poised episodes that I usually have other times. Today, I'm just kind of talking about on the other end of like, when you just don't fucking feel like it. I, for one, if you are not aware of this, I'm a retired Crashout, and I love saying that so bad. And like, probably still not to the magnitude of Crashout that other people would be, but in my life, if I tell you some of the shit that I've been through, I moved a phone. I think that sound like came through the microphone, but in my life, I was cheated on in my first two main relationships. I'm just painting a picture for you here, okay? It's no hard feelings. If you know them, that's fine. I'm not talking shit, but I'm going to speak on what my life was like. So my first two main relationships, I was cheated on. And in the second of the two, it was real bad. For lack of a better way to put it. The way I'm gonna have to cut this is ridiculous because there is somebody outside. Like, the moment I start fucking recording, it's 4:00, y'all. Tell me why we have cars zooming past in this old ass neighborhood. But anyway, the second of the two relationships was it was so bad that I would have to pop up at their place of work to see if they were working or if they were cheating. Like, that type shit. Every passcode that was changed, it was like every day. Like, you sleep with your phone in your pillowcase type shit. I was over your shoulder. I was figuring that shit out. I have been to the person's house that they were cheating with because they told me they were over there and they like were unresponsive. And someone left their front door unlocked and I sure as shit went inside. Now, I didn't do nothing but take a picture, but I went inside. I did. So I have answered phone calls. I have answered phone calls in English. I have answered phone calls in Spanish. I have responded to people's emails. I have messaged for them. I have just everything that you could think of. So when I say I'm a retired crash out, like, I used to be about that very confrontational life. And you have to unlearn that. It's very, very unhealthy. And thankfully, I don't have any of those same impulses again. There's no reason for me to have those impulses because my last relationship was completely trustworthy. I didn't have any questions. I wasn't worried about it. But I think what I wanted to talk about today was just, what do you do when the thing that you're trying to do to get you to calm down doesn't end up being fucking effective? So, like, just finished watching the Pistons versus the Knicks. The Pistons played like cardboard cutouts the whole first 2 fucking quarters of the game, and that shit pissed me off so bad. You trying to watch this thing because, like, it's the playoffs. Everything is stressful. Everybody wants to watch and be excited, and they have home field advantage, or so they say. And then you lose. But we lost by 1 point. And I'll give it to them. They really tried to make it. They tried to make a comeback, but the ending was just so fucking stupid. So I was like, cool. Since yesterday, I've been feeling like upset. Just fucking upset, y'all. And I don't talk to anybody about like any of the things that I go through. So it's like, you know what? Podcast. Why not? Let's do it. So this is what the hell I'm doing today. And like I said, if this is your first impression of me, listen, I'm not even gonna apologize, because what you see is what you get. But the rest of the episodes don't actually sound like this, so you might want to dip out. But if you've been rocking with me, this is where we're at. Yesterday was a good day, actually. It started off as a really good day, and then I don't know, maybe about like 3, 4 o'clock. It could be a little bit later than that, because I wasn't exactly time stamping it. I just noticed that I was feeling really overwhelmed. Feeling a shift, struggling to hang on. And I want to talk about this because I always tell people, oh, you should do XYZ when you're feeling overwhelmed. You should do this, you should do that. Make sure you allow yourself to feel. But sometimes it's hard to even be able to make those decisions in the middle of your overwhelm, which is, part of why you're supposed to catch it. Now, some of the things that I go through are a little bit unique to me. I'm not going to talk about why, but I think it's real enough to say that people struggle when they feel overwhelmed to come down from that. And yesterday, I absolutely struggled to come down from that. And I was just like, what the fuck? What is it that I should be doing? Like, I thought to myself, I was like, okay, at this point, it's late. I'm watching another basketball game yesterday. And I think it was the Rockets versus Golden State. And, it's just the Rockets versus Steph Curry, because clearly he was the only person on that team yesterday. But at least for a long while into the game. And I felt myself getting more and more frustrated. And to tell you the truth, I made space for my emotions, but I didn't. I went and laid in bed. And watched a basketball game, because I was like, yeah, this is what I need. What should I have done? I probably should have gone and meditated. Probably should have journaled. Probably should have listened to some music. But I felt physically dizzy. I was just emotionally overwhelmed. And I don't even know, I don't know what obsessed with that feeling, if that makes sense. And I don't want obsessed to come through and make me sound like a weirdo, because it's not that. It's just, I didn't know why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. So I just wanted to figure it out. I was just like, what is this? I don't understand. And so I am hyper-focusing is a better way to put it. But hyper-focus and obsession, they're like best friends. So I'm hyper-focusing on the feeling, which is then making it amplify, right? I'm now feeling worse because that's all I can think about. Why is it like this? Why is nothing changing? In that moment, it felt like life was happening to me instead of me being in charge of life. So I broke down and cried. And I cried and I cried and I cried for like an hour straight. And to tell you the truth, I ended up going to bed at 5 a.m. last night, which is insane for me. Like, yesterday was looking real questionable. Real, bitch, what are you doing? And it's because I'm sitting, I'm crying, and I end up having a conversation with a stranger that was sensational. I was just so, I was so caught up in my upset yesterday. In my, I am so tired, in my, who thought that I was going to be strong enough to go through this energy? Like, why did they look at Bianca and go, you're the one, you can handle this? Like, do I have to continue to be God's strongest warrior? Because a bitch is tired. She's tired. There's so many things that I will not talk about, but not because, I'm not trying to be vulnerable, just purely there are things going on behind the scenes that I'm not at liberty to speak about. And yesterday was just really me feeling again like life was happening to me. I was like, it's been months. I'm so worn out. Like I'm just worn down all in all. And even though on most days I see the light at the end of the tunnel, even though my day started so well, it was such a beautiful day, there were such happy things happening, it doesn't matter. You can have the happiest day ever and still end up crying because sometimes it's beyond your control, you know? Sometimes there are things you're ignoring, sometimes energies are just shifting, and you have to wait for those energies to shift. And I've said this before, I'm just not the best at being patient. I'm trying, but I'm not the best. So yesterday became really overwhelming, and like I said, I ended up having a talk with a complete stranger online. And of course, it was like talking to myself. It was so weird. It was so weird. Never had a real conversation with this person. Not quite like this anyway. And they just kind of parroted back to me things, and I can't even say parroted because I would have had to say it first, but they said back to me things that I say to other people all the time. And I was like, wow, this was a fated conversation. This was placed here to remind me to pull myself back up, to say it's going to be okay, to know that life isn't happening to me, that I am in control. And, it's funny because the true control is in surrender, right? So not trying to push outcomes or force things or, even make too many decisions sometimes because it might be trying to pull you away from what you really need. And I'll be real. Yesterday I was just like, I'm ready to say fuck it with one, thing in particular. And after the talk with the person, I was like, nope, I'm not. And this is why I was chosen to have to go through stuff like this. It's because even at my most frustrated, and by the way, one thing about me, I'll never make a decision when I'm upset. Never. And it's because I don't want that impulse to change something in a negative way. Even if the change could have had a positive outcome, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait until I'm level-headed. So even though I think I am more vocal than I am impulsive. So like the thought will rise up where I'm like, yep, I'm ready to throw in the towel. I'm done. I've done everything I can. And I'll feel that way. And then I'll meet myself there and I'll allow myself to sit with it. And then I will let it pass and kind of reconsider. Like, hey, did I mean that when I said it? And I don't know, it was just really nice to be able to have someone there as a sounding board. And I talk about this all the time. So I'm like, talk to the right people. But it's hard in particular when you're going through some of the things I'm going through because you can't talk about it. What is there to say? At the risk of sounding completely wild to other people, it's just me in my journal sometimes. Like you talk about things, and my therapist, she knows, because obviously I'm a therapist with a therapist, and she knows a lot of what I've experienced, what I experience, and I would say she probably knows 95% of it, maybe even more like 98, but I try not to talk about every single thing because I just don't like to put things out there until things are, set in stone. So that's a part of why I'm not talking about this either, because there's nothing to say. You can't have 50% of the information because I'm only one person and talk about it. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, having the talk with this person was super therapeutic for me because it was just like, you can do this. You absolutely can do this. You tell people all the time that they can do it. So what makes you think you can't? You can do hard things. You can get through it. You can strengthen how patient you are. I'm almost getting like emotional talking about this right now. And did it suck? Yeah. Did I again cry for an hour straight? yeah, talking to this person, voice messages, and I'm got one stuffy nostril because I'm upset. But then after that, the reason I stayed up until 5 a.m. is there was just so much energy buzzing like in my body, just everywhere. And it mainly felt very positive. Like it wasn't one of those, I can't sleep because I'm unhappy. No, at that point I was fine. At that point I had talked through it until I felt lighter. And I appreciated the opportunity to talk through something until I felt lighter. And I need to give myself that space more, even when it's scary. Yesterday, I just felt very isolated, and sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel so isolated. And I made this episode to show you that I'm not perfect. I help people understand choices to make when they are at the depths of their souls, and then I don't necessarily show mine. So yesterday was a low swing for me. The evening was a low swing. The conversation really helped. And then I went live on social media. And it was so funny because I went live on Twitter last night and it like had its own mini heart attack. I don't know what happened. Like I think I attempted to swipe my screen down to see something. Because like if you go live on Facebook, you can do that. You can swipe your screen down and you'll just pause it for a second for the viewers. The whole app was like, nope, and it knocked me out of the live. So I tried it a second time and I went to do something in the app itself and it freaked out and force closed the app. I was like, wow. So I went live on Instagram for like maybe 4 minutes and I got a few messages this morning going, why were you live on Instagram at 4 a.m.? Because if you know me, like, that's not something I do. I used to go live all the time on Facebook in the middle of the day and I would do like makeup tutorials and just all types of things. So it's not like I'm a stranger. I was like, what word am I looking for here? It's not like I'm a stranger to going live. It was just not at 4 a.m. Yeah, that was strange. So I jumped back on Twitter again because nobody was awake at 4 a.m. naturally on my Instagram. At least again, I don't go live on Instagram either, so there's usually never anybody looking over there. I go back to Twitter and I'm not gonna call it X. I'm calling it Twitter till I die. That's a hill I will stand on. A hill I will die on? Yes, a hill I will die on. But I went live on there, just literally listening to Spotify and having DJ play songs. And it was funny because before I even had the conversation with the person, I was watching basketball, like I said, and the plan was, okay, do something that is enjoyable. You're feeling weird, you're feeling dizzy, like, okay, coping skills. Let's watch basketball. So I'm watching basketball and it's kind of stupid, so it really didn't help. If anything, it probably made me feel more tense. I shut it off in the middle of the game because I was like, this is the stupidest freaking game. I don't feel like finishing it. And I turn on lo-fi because I was like, all right, what's another coping skill? Let me turn on my lo-fi. That's usually the thing that I'll do. I'll go in my office, turn on some lo-fi, light some candles, and, meditate. I chose not to meditate. I chose just to listen and to feel. And it just got heavier and heavier and heavier. So now fast forward, whatever. Fast forward to the live on Twitter. I'm listening to DJ. So DJ just plays, if you know, it just plays whatever you listen to, whatever is new, shit that it doesn't even think that you've heard. And it's funny because I'm actually a diehard Pandora user, but in the last 2 years, I've pretty much entirely switched over apps. And that came partially because I liked everybody's list of what you listen to for the year. So my numbers were really low when I did mine because I would have listened to it when I went to the gym. Like, yeah, I'm going to put this one on. I'm going to listen to these mixes for the gym. That's it. So now I don't think I've opened the Pandora app at all this year, which is nuts because Pandora I've been using since my best friend showed it to me in high school. Y'all, this is different. And actually, Spotify I used since high school too, so let me not say that, but I always had an account, but I was just never on it. So now I'm actually on it, using it regularly. Like I have old 2011 playlists from senior year because I don't know, I think it like started to get big then or something, or it happened to be popular amongst my friends. So we all made our playlists and they was connected to our Facebooks and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So if you didn't know this and you happen to be younger than me, I'm 32. So Facebook was where it's at, was operative word here. But so I'm listening to just these songs and I'm on live, and it's so funny because like the second I'm live, boom, there was a person. I was like, holy, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh, that's what the first one. I think I literally said, oh. I've never seen someone, like look at it so fast, look at a live ever. It usually takes a few minutes. Now I can't tell, and I think like thinking over it, it's not like Facebook because Facebook will show you when somebody is there, but the number that they show you means they're there in that moment. So with Twitter, there's no way to tell, are they still there? Have they gone? Because unless people comment, and nobody was commenting. So I kept saying that and I was like, damn, nobody will say hello. Like everybody just keeps jumping in and I'm vibing. I'm laying on my bed. At this point I feel much better. I got the music going and I just laid on live and I just sang and sang and sang because honestly that is what makes me happy. Singing. Like if I am so sad that I can't sing, that's how you know it's bad. But I'm just, every song I could sing to, I would sing to. And then there were some songs that were like, nah, we're not gonna listen to this. We're just gonna skip over that one. That one doesn't feel like the right vibe. And I probably, the live itself ended up being like 44 minutes long. So at this point, it's probably like I don't even know, 4:40, 4:45 or something. And like another song starts to play. It's fucking Die With a Smile, bro. I don't even know what time it was. And I love Die With a Smile. Like that is my jam. It is a synchronistic song for me. And also if you can hear my air conditioning today, I'm sorry. I don't know. The thing is so damn loud, but I'm hoping that doesn't shine through. I just be so tired of sitting here hot in this room with no AC because it wants to rattle. So I try my best to fix it. But all right, ADHD. So Die With a Smile pops on. And I literally look at the camera and I go, I love this song, but we are not dying with a smile right now. And I skipped it. I was like, I cannot do this. I didn't have Die With a Smile energy in me at that moment because I had literally just gotten to a place of feeling better, feeling happier, So that song, unfortunately, just brought on some emotional weight. And I was like, nope, right in this moment. Thank you. Goodbye. So, again, I say all of this because this is the human experience, to work so fucking hard on yourself, to do 1,000,001 things for self-care and self-worth and just mental health, and then still have a shit fucking evening. Like, there's nothing you can do sometimes, and it's real, besides sitting in it. I remember there was an episode where I talked about lotus flowers and the way that they grow in mud. Sometimes we have to sit in the mud in order to grow, and that is one of the things that person was kind of saying to me. He was like, sometimes you have to go through these moments to be able to appreciate the joy that's going to come after it. And I was like, you know what, Bianca B 2.0, you fucking right. You are absolutely right. And it was just crazy. But then I woke up this morning and I was pretty much in another type of heavy energy. So it wasn't the same because yesterday I processed those emotions, but then I think today was just like the weight of it all, if that even makes sense. And the weight of it all in a different way. It was like before I was unhappy because I felt like things weren't changing, things weren't happening. You get told one thing, you see something completely differently, and then I just had a change of perspective. So then waking up this morning, it was like the emotion that came from the change of perspective. The like, holy shit, I got here. I made it. Better is coming. this happened because I needed to release a few things in order to feel better. Because, again, even as a therapist, like, I'll be the first one to say we do not have our lives all figured out. No, we have a job title, you feel me? Like, don't get me wrong, you obviously have to be able to do your own work to work in this field. So yeah, don't take that and be like, oh, well, therapists are just unhealed people. No, that's not the case. We have all, they tell you to handle your shit before you ever try to handle somebody else's. So, but that doesn't mean that things are not going to pop back up again. It doesn't mean that, life lessons don't keep happening at the same time. So we're just humans at the end of the day. I think that's why this episode was so important. And I'm so glad that it was recommended to me, because I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can find some shit to talk about. Like, I am a professional yapper. This is going to happen. So again, this morning, I'm just feeling down, and I'm feeling down. I'm feeling tears in my eyes again, down. And even though I had done that live video last night with puffy eyes from crying, I woke up this morning and they really weren't puffy. I was like, all right, cool. So then me waking up and then crying again, I'm like, man, I'm just exhausting me left and right. And in reality, it was okay, because I still made the space to feel. Even if I had to cry, it was all right, because it's cathartic. It's a release. I knew that I needed it. And here it is right now, 4:23 p.m. And I don't feel as heavy as I did this morning. I mean, there is still something swimming around in my chest. And I think that on a real note, sometimes I still struggle with old emotions, the way things come in my perception. Like, it's hard, because I've talked about being a perfectionist in a lot of ways before. And because I work so hard to change, and it's so obvious that I work hard to change, I struggle when it's not as obvious for other people, or when I perceive something in a different way. I am very much a watcher. I watch, I see everything, and I say nothing. And honestly, it's better that way, because, I just keep to myself. It's no big deal. But sometimes when I'm doing that watching, I get my feelings hurt, and it doesn't take away from any work that's being done. It doesn't take away from my work. It doesn't take away from someone else's work. But it takes my brain a little bit longer to catch up. And then I have that need to release the emotion. It gets all pent up. Or we have a tendency to catastrophize. Sometimes I do catastrophize, and that's how I landed on I'm ready to just say fuck it yesterday, because it felt like there was no way out. It felt so strong, like everything that I've done was for nothing. And then I realized, and I even said this in the conversation with a stranger, that as I talked about the way that I felt, I was, because I'm of two minds, simultaneously looking at it from a lens of, look at all that I've accomplished. Look at all of the growth that I've done. And if I had to choose to go through what I'm going through again, I would choose to do it again. Because who I am now, and who I'm getting ready to be for the rest of the year, for the rest of my life, is worth it. It's all worth it. And even if it's hard in the moment, it doesn't mean that I can't overcome the feeling of I'm tired and it's hard. No, I just have to swoop in and be kinder to myself. Did I want to have to sit here and do homework today? No, I'm not even done. I still have more that I got to take care of. And to be honest with you, I almost didn't even want to record this podcast today. This episode. And that's a part of why I changed it, because I was like, I don't have this topic in me right now. I don't have the healthy relationship topic in me today because today is feeling like miniature crash out. But I don't have crash out energy. I running on 5 hours of sleep. Your girl is sleepy. She wants to take a nap. And I can't even take a nap. But it just created an opportunity to be like, dude, I am messy. And it's okay. I'm allowed to be messy because I know that I'm going to pick myself up. And I know that I'm going to do better. And I know that as people, we are messy. Healing is fucking messy. Everybody expects things to be cookie cutter. Yeah, you're going to do this, you're going to get the result. But results aren't instantaneous. And I have to repeat that to myself sometimes. Results are not instantaneous. If anybody needs that message, it's definitely me. My Capricorn ass. I just want everything to be, all right, I did it. So where's the, I don't want to say prize, but for lack of a better word, where's the prize? Where's the result? Where's my outcome that I was looking for? Because in a lot of ways in my life, I think that I have done things that were going to give me an immediate result. You do the work, you get the result. So it is difficult when you do the work and you don't see the result yet. And maybe that just means that there's more work to be done that you can't see. Maybe it's just all about divine timing. And I mean, not maybe, it is all about divine timing, but some people don't believe in that. Things are going to happen when they're meant to happen. And it's okay if that feels like never, as long as you're showing up for you. So I watched this basketball game, which again, we lost, it was shit. But I didn't just jump right into some responsibility because I had to. I did what made me happy. I waited to record this until afterwards because I still didn't have it in me then. That might look different for you. Sometimes I tell my clients, sometimes the only thing that you can do for yourself is sit on the couch under a blanket with a tub of ice cream, watching your favorite show. You have to show up for you and not feel embarrassed to not be where you want to be, not feel embarrassed to cry, not feel embarrassed to be vulnerable or to be messy. Bianca is messy, bro. And I don't say that in a way, it's funny because I laugh, but not even in a, I'm trying to deflect the emotion. It makes me smile because if I can show you that I'm messy, then I can show you, and I am showing you that I'm real. Perfection is a facade. I was talking to my best friend the other day, and we were talking about this year, and she said, I knew that this year was going to be hard, but I didn't know it was going to be this fucking hard. And I said, amen, because neither did I. It's April. And even though maybe I have accomplished some things this year, and I've accomplished a lot, that doesn't mean that it's always easy to convince myself that I've accomplished a lot in those emotional moments. We have this like saying where lots of people say this, but we're surviving, not thriving. And I don't know about you, but I expected by April to be thriving and not surviving anymore. And I also say surviving gently because I'm still doing the things that I love. I've had so many experiences this year by simply not planning, which is amazing, by sitting back, by letting go, by surrendering, as I said earlier, than I have had in the last, 5 years. I'm going with the flow. I'm doing all of these things. So the change in perspective is so necessary sometimes because we feel stuck in a rut. Stuck like the one thing that you just want so bad won't happen. that you're missing the rest of what you get to enjoy in the process. That one thing not happening yet might have allowed you the downtime that you needed for something else. And I get frustrated, and I have homework, and I have responsibilities that make me want to pull my hair out sometimes. But it doesn't take away from the ways that I show up for myself and the dreams that I've already made come true. And I have so much further to go in this life. I want to be financially secure. I want my small business to take off. I don't even talk about that with people because it's brand new and it's my baby, and I'm like scared. I don't know. And I've had small businesses before, so it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. I absolutely do. It's just that overwhelm creeps in and the fear creeps in. And sometimes, as I've said in my other episodes, they become like quicksand. I consider myself to be a motivated person for the most part, and I also believe that it ebbs and flows. And sometimes in those down moments, that's where we get in our head the most. And it's like looking through smoky glasses. I don't want to look through smoky glasses anymore. I just want to look out and be able to see that I am aligning with what I need, with who I am, with my future that I'm working for. And I am. And I have to remind myself that. So if your weekend was messy, if your week this coming week is messy, I just encourage you to make space for you and try to sit back and have gratitude for the things that you have accomplished, for the things that you're able to do, even if that is as simple as having 5 extra minutes to sit by yourself because something else fell through. It's okay to get in your head. It's okay to feel like you want to crash out. But try not to make decisions on impulse. Obviously, happy decisions on impulse are fine too, but just not the upset impulse. The one where it's like, nothing is changing, so I want to tear it all down. Because it's easy. It's so easy to feel that, so easy to get wrapped up in it. You are worthy of that pause, of that sacred pause that shows you who the hell you are. You're amazing. And if no one has told you this week, I love you and I'm so proud of you. And it shouldn't even matter if I'm proud or not, but I am. I'm grateful for you guys listening today. Thanks for my rant. Next week we'll do another topic. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Mild Moodcast. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. If you have any burning questions or topics you'd like me to cover, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me on YouTube at Mild Moodcast and Instagram at Mild Mood Therapy. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to explore the wonderful world of mental health together. Until next time, stay curious and keep smiling.